So my car is a spark ignition engine because it uses gasoline, but yet on my car it says it's electronically fuel injected. Is that the same thing as the injection system in a diesel engine? Let's unpack that a little bit and look what's going on. So in a spark ignition engine, again, one of the fundamental differences that is almost always the case, the fuel that is coming, or the air that's coming into the cylinder, is a mixture of air and fuel. So the fuel is put with the air before it actually gets into the piston. Now there are some exceptions to this, but this is almost always the case. So let's take a look. What does the fuel injection mean then? So let's look at this system, and this is a diagram from your textbook that's talking about all of the controls and everything on an engine, and we'll come back and look at that all later, but I want you to focus on, here's the piston in the middle of what's going on, the piston going up and down. Here's the intake side with the fuel, the air fuel that's coming in this way. And so if I track this back, I'll see that there's an air filter out here that filters the dirt out of the air before it gets into the engine, but I don't see a carburetor anywhere. So how's the fuel getting into there? It's getting into it from this injector right here. So this is an injector. My throttle plate that's controlling the engine speed is after that. So this is injecting the fuel in there. So if I track this system back a little bit, here's my fuel tank back here. There's going to be a fuel pump that is going to actively pump or push the fuel from the tank into some type of a pressure regulator. So I'm going to have some pressure here at this fuel injector, and that fuel injector is going to open and close at the proper time to allow fuel to go into the airstream and get mixed with the air as it's pulled into the engine. So in some ways it is like the diesel injector, where I've got the fuel pressure sitting here, I've got an electronic signal that opens and closes this injector, but it's not injecting into the cylinder like the diesel engine is. It's injecting the fuel or spraying the fuel, atomizing the fuel in the airstream before it actually gets into the cylinder. So we often call this the throttle body. So you'll hear people talk about throttle body and the throttle body injection or something like that. Those kind of terminologies about a modern engine. And that's what's going on. It's this injector somewhere upstream. Sometimes it's pretty close to the cylinder. Sometimes it's pretty far upstream. It just depends on the engine and number of cylinders and how the manufacturer decided to make it. So there is a lot of variation on it. But again, the bottom line is, yes, a spark ignition engine can be fuel injected, but it's injected upstream from the cylinder so that the cylinder almost always is pulling in the air-fuel mixture, unlike a compression ignition engine, which only is pulling in clean air, and we inject the fuel directly into that.